Kelthax froze amid the flashes and cheers of the human crowd as he brought that strange, sizzling food to his mouth. This sticky, greasy protein-carbohydrate mixture they called a hamburger was resting in his hand. The visually unimpressive brown disc with bright-colored layers and odd fluids dripping from it looked far more inviting than the Union Protocol nutrient. After hesitating for nearly a full rotation period, he brought the hamburger to his mouth and bit down. Nothing could have prepared him for this. Kelthax's mouth filled with flavors he had never encountered before. Sweet, salty, sour, bitter. These he knew. But this fifth taste? Was this what they called umami? It was perfect. A taste that activated his brainstem, starting a chemical war on his tongue. He bit again, mesmerized. He gripped the motorcycle's handlebar tighter, not from fear of falling, but from sheer amazement. "Hey, buddy, want some more ketchup?" asked the young human, holding a red bottle. Considering that humans had been trying to take him down just a few days ago, this friendly approach was still challenging Kelthax's adaptive brain. "First time having a burger, huh? I love that expression on your face. These burgers from Mitch's are like a piece of heaven." The human laughed, which according to Kelthax's careful cultural analysis was a sign of friendship, not threat. "More ketchup, yes, thank you, Tyler Human," said Kelthax, taking care to pronounce the name correctly. Earlier, when he had elongated the name to Tyler, everyone in the room had laughed. He had felt diminished then, but now, after 3 days on Earth, he was beginning to understand that humans laughed constantly. The fact that this species' default state was joyful was one of the most surprising discoveries in his 200-year career as a Union Protocol officer. The crowd around him was thickening. More humans were gathering from the main boulevard to see an alien dressed this way, sitting on a metal vehicle, eating a dripping protein disc. If Kelthax had submitted a report to the Union Security Council a week ago, he would have described humans as dangerously unpredictable, likely unstable, and incompatible with Union standards. What would he say now? Terran hamburgers taste incredible, and the vibration of their metal vehicles activates the joy of living. Kelthax swallowed the rest of the burger in one bite, earning applause from the astonished crowd. Despite the planet's atmosphere causing mild oxygen poisoning, the smell of the leather jacket they had given him was incredibly beautiful. It was old, organic, real. In the Union, everything was sterile, artificially produced, and never, ever unexpectedly beautiful. "Want another one, Kel?" asked Tyler, pointing to Mitch's burger joint, now squeezed among the crowd. "Yes, please, but I also want to ride the motorcycle," said Kelthax, pointing to the Harley Davidson beside him. 3 days ago, the idea of using someone's private property had seemed repulsive to him. In the Union, everyone followed the principle of collective ownership, collectively agreed upon, of course. But when Tyler offered to show him how to ride his motorcycle, Kelthax had felt the weight of 150 years of training against such violations. Now, in the post-hamburger haze of happiness, he was thinking only, by the gods, why not? "Sure thing, buddy. Let's eat the burger first, then we'll ride against the wind together. You'll love Route 66 Classic America," said Tyler, placing his hand on Kelthax's shoulder. This physical contact was something that Kelthax's Union training prohibited in every way. He had been taught that there should be no contact between different species, whether this stemmed from self-preservation instinct or a superiority complex. He now wondered. When he arrived here, the Earth Embassy had asked him to inspect this planet, a standard observation mission for recently technologically active species, they had said. He was supposed to write a report, evaluate the human species according to Union standards. But right now, inside his completely blue head, all the cold, clinical words that might appear in his report were melting away. Kelthax's mindset a week ago was completely different from the mindset now experiencing hamburgers and motorcycles. The only thing he could think of was that he was truly living for the first time in his life. For 347 years in the Union, he had merely existed, but never lived. Humans, on a small planet in an extremely dangerous corner of the galaxy, had discovered a simple food called the hamburger, and it offered more genuine pleasure than anything the entire Union had provided for thousands of years. How could this be possible? Everything the Union taught was about survival, staying safe, not taking risks, not pushing boundaries, conforming and being compliant. And here, among humans, nothing was safe. Everything was filled with risk. And it was magnificent. Kelthax touched Tyler's shoulder and dismounted the motorcycle. More hamburger, then riding. Then what comes next? He asked, savoring the endless possibilities. Next comes music. Real music. Live. There's a rock bar outside town. Local band playing. Wanna go? Tyler put his hands in his pockets and waited for Kelthax's reaction. I mean, if your union protocol allows it, he added with a smile. Kelthax smiled. It was an interesting physiological response. The involuntary movement of facial muscles. Cultural studies indicated that smiling was a universal expression, but Kelthax had never smiled before. In the Union, there was no need for it. Forget protocol, he said, his smile widening. What is a rock bar? He asked, walking toward Mitch's burger joint. As the sun set, the growing crowd of humans had taken out their phones and were taking pictures of Kelthax. With his elongated head, bluish-purple skin, and large eyes, he had a distinctly non-terrestrial appearance. But these humans were examining him with curiosity rather than fear. They might not trust aliens or be afraid of them, but they were certainly curious. And Kelthax now understood that curiosity was the prerequisite for development. While Tyler was ordering the second burger, Kelthax felt the Union communication device vibrating in the pocket of his newly acquired jacket. His superiors were trying to reach him. They hadn't received an update for 3 days and were probably worried. Or perhaps, Kelthax thought, they were requesting a report. What had he learned about humans? Did they pose a threat? Were they worthy of joining the Union? Suddenly, he realized that the fate of the human species was in his hands. Just 3 days of human experience had been the most exciting period of his 347-year life. He disabled the communication device. He didn't quite understand why he did this, but right now he didn't want to hear the cold logic of Union protocol. He wanted more human experiences, more hamburgers, more motorcycles, more whatever he didn't yet know. The only thing he knew was the feeling that he was truly living for the first time. He smiled, and this time it felt natural. What is a motorcycle? He asked suddenly while eating his second hamburger. The Harley Davidson is a legend, man, said Tyler enthusiastically. We've been around since 1903. I mean, the company has. My grandfather used to ride one. It gives you this great sense of freedom. Just you, the machine, and the open road. You feel the wind, you feel the sound, you feel the vibration. You feel truly alive. Tyler looked at him with a strange expression in his eyes. Don't you have anything like this in the Union? Kelthax took another bite of his hamburger. In the Union, there isn't much feeling, he said, carefully choosing his words. In the Union, there is efficiency, there is process, there is protocol. The Union was founded 50,000 years ago to break a cycle of violence. We built this system. We established order. But now I realize that along with order, we eliminated something else. He looked at his hamburger. Like taste. Tyler frowned. You don't have hamburgers in the Union? What about music, dancing, motorcycles, art? He shook his head. Damn, man, how do you live there? We don't, said Kelthax calmly. We exist. In the Union, everything is controlled, safe, orderly. What you call a hamburger would be nutrition for us, with optimal molecular compositions, exactly the amount of calories we need to maintain all our life functions. He finished his second hamburger and licked his fingers, earning another round of applause from the crowd. But there would be no flavor. The lack of flavor isn't because our food is poorly prepared. For us, flavor is evolutionarily unnecessary. Tyler sat down next to Kelthax on the steps outside Mitch's burger joint. But why? I mean, why did you choose to just exist instead of living life? He asked, genuinely curious. I've never talked to an alien before, but sorry, you look a bit sad. Kelthax realized the strangeness of trying to explain thousands of years of Union history to a human, outside in the open air, in front of a hamburger restaurant. The Union was a security project, he explained. My species and 32 other species came together during a period of intense warfare. We were dying. All our species were facing extinction. Creating the Union was a matter of survival. Eliminating emotions, desires, individuality was the path to peace. We removed anything that could lead to pleasure, violence, and emotional turmoil. But now I wonder, what? asked Tyler, not noticing that the crowd was now listening attentively. "Whether we gave up living in order to stay alive," said Kelthax slowly. He looked at the motorcycle. "Now I want to ride this. And I want to experience something I won't write in my union report." Tyler laughed. "Now you're talking, buddy. Come on, let me show you the basics." Kelthax and Tyler walked away from the crowd toward the Harley-Davidson. Tyler was very patient as he showed Kelthax the basic controls of the motorcycle: throttle, brake, clutch. The alien's three-fingered hand had to adapt to grasp the human controls, but Kelthax was learning extremely quickly. As the crowd expanded around them, Tyler handed him the helmet. "Union protocol requires minimizing risk on a foreign planet," said Kelthax, examining the helmet. "But to hell with protocol, I guess," he said, mimicking the human expression. The crowd cheered. Tyler laughed and patted Kelthax on the shoulder. This was it. He was having a genuine human experience. 5 minutes later, an alien wearing a black leather jacket was riding a Harley-Davidson down the main street, with Tyler and a few other motorcyclists following behind. That evening was legendary for them. Kelthax learned to ride the motorcycle, slowly at first, then with more confidence, riding down a country road at 70 kilometers per hour, the wind hitting his face, the roar of the engine, the stars in the sky. It was a revelation. Tyler and his friends took him to the rock bar they had promised. Kelthax experienced live music for the first time. Guns N' Roses was playing. Pure, loud, discordant, raw, perfect. His body responded to the music, first by swaying slightly, then by doing what Tyler called dancing. As the night progressed, Kelthax finally asked something he had been thinking about for a long time. "Tyler, humanity is so full of life. I understand that. But how do you manage to survive in a more challenging environment?" Tyler, swirling the cold drink in his hand, said, "Look, I'm not a philosopher, but in my opinion, you don't have to choose between surviving and living. You can do both at the same time. Maybe we humans are so good at surviving because we have something worth living for. Like, I take risks on the road with my motorcycle because the feeling of freedom is worth it. Mitch opens a restaurant, which is a risky business because providing flavor to people makes him happy. We all take risks in some way because life is rich. Am I making sense?" Kelthax nodded thoughtfully. "We settled for merely existing, while you dared to take risks to truly live. The strange thing is, this has made you much more resilient than us. The Union wanted to protect our species by eliminating all conflicts, but actually stopped our development." At the end of the night, Tyler took him back to the Earth Embassy. As they stood at the door, Kelthax looked up at the stars. "Tomorrow I have to send my report," he said. "The Union wants to know if the human species is ready for integration, whether you're dangerous." He watched the shimmering blue energy forming at his fingertips, seeing his own bioluminescent response, this strong for the first time. In his long life, he had never felt so excited. Tyler laughed. "And what will you tell them? Are we dangerous?" Kelthax smiled with a strange expression on his bluish-purple face. "I'll tell them that you are quite dangerous," he said with energy in his voice. "But the idea that danger is entirely bad, that's a Union concept. Your hamburgers are dangerous because they remind us of the true meaning of pleasure. Your motorcycles are dangerous because they show us what freedom feels like. Your music is dangerous because it awakens our souls. Your dancing, your art, your books, they're all dangerous because they show us there is another way of existing." Tyler looked confused. "So, are you going to reject us?" "No," said Kelthax with determination. "I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'll tell the Union that our species need to make contact with each other. I'll tell them, we need to learn how to live again." He took out the Union communication device from his jacket. He stared at its cold, metallic surface for a long time, then extended it to Tyler. "Keep this as a souvenir," he said. "A piece of my old life." "What? Why?" asked Tyler, carefully taking the device. He was seeing alien technology up close for the first time. "Because tomorrow, I'm going to tell the embassy officials that I want to live outside the Union," said Kelthax. "Here, on Earth, with humans, eating hamburgers, riding motorcycles, listening to music, living." He opened his hands, his blue skin shimmering in the nightlights. 3 days ago, when I set foot on this planet, I came to explore and report back. Now, I've found a home. Tyler's eyes widened. Are you serious? Can you do that? What will your own species say? My species will report me as missing, said Kelthax, shrugging carelessly. Another human gesture he had just learned. Then they'll send a team to find me, and when that team arrives on Earth, they'll experience the same thing. They'll eat their first hamburgers, ride their first motorcycles, experience their first rock concert. They'll stay too, and then they'll send another team, and sooner or later, the entire Union will change, Tyler completed, suddenly understanding. He smiled. The Hamburger Revolution. Kelthax laughed. A full, genuine, heartfelt laugh. No one in the Union remembered what laughter was like anymore. Yes, the Hamburger Revolution. My species was once like yours, you know. All species were. We all lived. Then we became afraid. We decided to be safe, to exist safely. But you can teach us how to live again. But what will the Union do? I mean, the authorities. Won't they try to stop us? Asked Tyler with a hint of concern. What can they do? Answered Kelthax. They can't fight against us, because the Union was founded to eliminate violence. They can't use emotional arguments to stop us, because they've lost their emotions. The only thing they can do is listen. And once they start listening, once they start feeling all these things on Earth, everything will change. He looked at the stars, his eyes seeming to truly notice the beauty of this vast universe for the first time. I changed. In just 3 days, the entire Union can change too. Tyler extended his hand and Kelthax understood it as a greeting. He mimicked the human handshake. Welcome to Earth, buddy, said Tyler. I guess you're our first alien immigrant. And I won't be the last, said Kelthax. He turned toward the embassy door, but then stopped. Can we meet at Mitch's joint tomorrow morning? I want to try other burgers. And maybe you could help me find a human job? I'm really going to need this thing you call money. Tyler laughed. Of course, and don't worry, Mitch will help. He'll start a promotion called Alien Burger. Business will double. In business, we call this a win-win. Kelthax, with a genuine smile on his face, said, Win-win. That sounds very human. They shook hands one last time, and the first real day of Kelthax's life came to an end. The next morning, the report sent to the Union High Council was extremely brief. Human species and culture highly sophisticated and evolved. Recommend comprehensive information exchange and cultural integration. For more details, come to Earth in person and eat a hamburger. Respectfully, Protocol Officer Kelthax, already Earth's first permanent alien resident.